And as long as you just are adapting
We
to
are
what
live.
the game's doing. Hey, we're live. And I'm talking about Riftbound.
He's
Meanwhile,
always talking about Riftbound.
I'm always talking about Riftbound.
Riftbound's
Meanwhile,
sick, man.
my little
It is
Rek'Sai
very
deck.
sick.
Oh
It's
my god,
extremely
I played
sick.
it. I played it for the first time, and oh my god, it draws so many cards, and I have so much fun playing that deck. I sure as hell don't win games though, but it's so cool. It's so cool.
I feel it.
I see so many
Yeah.
cards. I'll be like, oh,
That deck
this
is
one.
cool.
Oh.
You beat all the decks that lose to Fallen Star. That's pretty cool.
There's not a lot of those anymore because, like what we just
What?
said, all these decks are playing
Wait.
removal. So if
What
your
do you
deck loses
mean?
to any sort of removal, it's rough.
I still play lose to Fallen Star type decks.
Oh, that's fair. That's okay.
But
What
I'm
do you,
pretty bad, so.
What are you on for set 2, Levi? For Riftbound?
Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like bugs.
We're gushing about
I like
Rek'Sai.
bugs.
And then
I
then I've joined
love bugs
Levi.
and women.
I like bugs and women. And
Okay.
she's
then
the alien queen or whatever, so that makes sense.
I have joined Levi in his love for Order and Calm together though because of the Azir deck, but
Mhm.
his love is Leona, so
Yeah, dude. Leona is bae. They just keep giving me these very well written child soldiers. I can't turn them down. I can't do it.
Yeah, good point. I'm on Renata Glask. Dude, that deck is a freaking blast, man. I think that I'm just a blue yellow player. It's so
Dude,
so
it's
sick.
that's fair.
Yeah, and like I played Victor last night, and I was I'm like, oh, this is just everything that I want to do in the game. Just like make a bunch of dorks and just like do the damn thing. It's so sick. I put Heimendinger in the Victor deck so that whenever I've got the 7-drop gear, I just go three guys, and just like
Yeah, dude. Heimerdinger becomes a wartime mother and just starts pumping out baby soldiers. It's sick.
yeah, it's
No, I think
sick.
that's fair. If you like what Yellow's Blue's doing, I mean, I think it is a powerful like domain combination because like I think a lot of the weakness of Yellow is like you have to find the right because it has incredible answers. You have to find the right answers at the right time, and
Yeah.
I think Blue with some of its removal that it has access to with like Singularity as well as like just good generic card draw from things like Lecturing Yordle, it just can like. And like those are units, of course, but you could play things even like Consult the Past or whatever, right? That
Yeah.
it just get you the answers you need at the right time while having also some of the craziest like Stupefy is just a good card, right? Like
Yeah.
Retreat is just a fucked up good card, right? So any of these good reaction timing cards are just really powerful.
That's why I like the Rek'Sai deck because like you get all the cool yellow answers, but like Victor, you don't have to worry about making guys because you just keep bringing the chickens back. You just keep bringing
the
Hawks
chickens
back. You
Rise from
literally
the
just keep bringing
grave.
Hawks back, dude. Yeah, man. Literally the phoenix rising from the ashes over and over again. So cool, dude. And then Bug Lady.
I'm really digging the equipment, guys. I just want to sit here and build
Equipment's
equipment
crazy.
decks.
Equipment is nuts. I'm
having so much fun with it.
The first time, like obviously, like so I had a few stages of equipment, especially coming from like Star Wars Unlimited, where like attachments in that game are like inherently unplayable. Like the reward for playing an upgrade in Star Wars Unlimited has to be so big because the risk is so huge because there's so much removal, and then also anything that returns to your hand, your equipment doesn't come with it in Star Wars Unlimited. If they bounce your guy back to hand, which like one of the 4 colors is almost only about bouncing your guys, your equipment just goes to the trash. So like upgrades are unplayable. Yeah, upgrades are like almost unplayable in Swoop unless they're so broken that like if that doesn't happen, you just win on the spot.
Yeah, I think
and
the
so
only
like
one I
when
know
I
that
saw
played
Riftbound's
was
equipment,
the armor, right?
yeah, because that
That's
went
the
on
only
your
one?
leader and it was uninteractable. But even still, there were there's a lot of cards that also just on top of like removal, just like trashing your attachments in Star Wars. There's also several cards that just say break an attachment for free sometimes. So like, yeah, very volatile environment. So like I saw them in Riftbound and I was like, we'll see how this goes. And then I learned that when your guy goes away, they just go back to your base. And I went, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that for like 2 weeks. And then I like watched people start playing with them and like watch them like send in an equipped guy, get the value out of that equipment, die, go back to base. slap that sword on another guy and then go. And I was like,
Picks it up off the dead body, charges back in.
Yeah.
It was sick.
yeah,
It's part of the reason that I'm liking Kaisa right now. I played Rocket Barrage as a 2-of in my Kaisa deck last night. Yeah. So it's a 4 recycle 1, repeat 4 repeat, kill a gear. I was playing against Paul, who had 2 of the Eye of the Heralds out, and that's the way that they were making units. And I was like, I'll just tap my whole board and shoot both those. You just don't have dudes anymore, and then I'll just run into the bases. You just like stop getting free dudes. I'll just kill the 2 gear for free. And with Kaisa, like it's actually like an acceptable rate.
It's totally acceptable, yeah. Especially if you're like up against those green decks that are just like, I got almost no units in my deck, but I have 3 Zanyas and 3 Guardian Angels. You're just like, well, kill the thing that's going to revive it, and then also kill it, or just kill 2 of those revivers, and then just go fight your guy. It's like,
am I not live on YouTube? Question mark.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Because killing the revival cards is just as good against those decks as killing the unit itself. So yeah, you're right. It's good value, and like I think the next step of like what we see from like these equipment decks or even just like gear in general is people, because in Spirit Forge there are cards that already like recur your gears back from the discard pile or something, and people just aren't playing them because the game's too fast. But like there's a world where like you have to maybe come full circle and maybe start thinking about those cards again because people are teching against it, obviously.
Yeah, gear's good. Gear's good, and it's tight. It's cool.
It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm getting the itch. I already have a Azir, but like I'm getting the itch. I want to build Lucian. I'm like, ooh, I want to play another equipment deck, or like make Ornn.
Paul played a Lucian deck against me, and I was like, I don't think this guy's very good. And then he started doing kick flips. He had one guy that had 8 equipment on it, and I was like, that's kind of big. That guy's kind of big.
Lucian reads pretty okay, but then you watch all the pieces in motion, and you're like, "Wow, that's kind of interesting." And then he shoves like 7 guns, like just 7,000 guns.
How's he holding all these guns? He's got so many hands.
And you don't even finish asking that before you're dead. You're dead.
And his signature spell is another one of those like move a dude thing.
Yeah.
Dude, his signature spell is just like super ride the wind. That card's crazy.
Because of the equipment as well. And then his champion units are also like, also ready me after you win the battle and then move me back to base, and then so you can go somewhere else. And I'm like,
avoid them combats, baby. Avoid them combats. Yeah, no, it's cool watching people play. Watching people play Lucian's signature, because I'm like, dang, Leona's signature is just good enough because it's bad ride the winds, and then this one's like good ride the wind.
Yeah. All right, I'm officially switching the logo. We are back to the TamCardwell Universus Super Show. We're gonna sorry, Riftbound, not gonna happen. Hello, what up, everybody? Welcome to the TamCardwell Universus Show pre-show, where I tell you guys if you want to get your questions on the air, you have to come into my Discord and open up a cute little ticket. In all of my little blasts I did today, I showed you how to do it. You gotta go to my server, you gotta click on talk with Tam and Barrett questions, and then you ask the question via opening a ticket. We are not having extra people on the show today because we're going to have such a robust conversation that getting people cycling in and out is going to be a little distracting. So get your tickets in, as well as you may ask them in chat, but that has a worse chance of me seeing it, as well as you can spend channel points and you can ask your question there as well, and you have a slightly higher to get it on. So get your questions in. Use the correct forms. If you don't ask your questions, there's no point in Levi being here. So besides having great company, excuse me, sorry. Besides having a great guy to hang out with.
Good cover.
Thanks, man. While they do that, do you guys just want to jump on to make it happen?
Yeah, I'm sure we got enough on the docket that people can facilitate, and honestly, I think a lot of the stuff that we will probably talk about will even create more questions. So I think we can. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've got some pretty banger questions submitted. Some much more obvious than others, but we're gonna we're gonna talk about it all in this lovely Starbucks. We're gonna air all the dirty laundry out tonight.
Then I've hit the record button. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Levi and Friends show. My name's Tam. I'm joined by Barrett, and of course, now I wrote this down, but I have scrolled past it. The organized play manager for Universus, Levi. Hello, Levi. How are you today, my guy?
I am very well. I'm very well, Cameron. Very excited to be here. Very excited to talk to the Universe community a little bit more, because holy cow, a lot's been happening, and of course, we're in OP land, so a lot's been changing. But hopefully tonight we're going to talk about how some of these changes are going to be, nail in the coffins, so to speak. Setting the record straight, if you will. I like that card.
I love that. I love
I
that.
like that
Well,
card.
for everybody at home, this is normally a call-in show where you come and you jump on and you're the third member of our cast, but because we have a third member, you're not jumping on. But you can still submit those questions, like I talked about right before we click the record button, in your normal ways, in my Discord or spending channel points in Twitch chat. But without further ado, I do want to get to a very important question, a question that I think we open with every single week, and that is, fellas, how was your week in Universus? What did you do? What games did you play? Did you have fun? Did you see something cool or neat? We'll start with Barrett. Barrett, how was your week in Universus, man?
Good. I actually talked about it already last week, but I did officially pull the trigger and buy the rest of the cards that I was missing for my All Might Hero 2 deck, so I can start slinging some attacks on my opponent's turn due to Aerial Kokosho and Rising Uppercut. So I'm excited to have that deck, hopefully, ready to go and all here so I can bring it to Worlds and, play some Hero 2, because I'm really excited for that format. But aside from that, I have been watching a lot of my friends prepare for the big event on the horizon, right? So I'll be out of town, sadly, a lot of next week. And then, of course, the week after that will be at Worlds. And so, I'm excited to see everybody's face again, give everybody an example of what's to come for the game as a whole when it comes to organized play. And honestly, I just want to sit down with all my friends again and not just play Universes, but catch up on everybody, because the last time I saw them was Christmas time, and I want to know how everybody's doing. It's been 2 months.
Levi, same question, buddy.
Yeah, dude. My week in Universus is always a fun one because it's both my work week and then sometimes my leisure time as well. Barrett kind of alluded to how crazy work's been for us because we're essentially operating on like 2 week ahead of time timelines right now. As in, anything that would have to be finished by us before the end of February actually has to be finished by tomorrow, because next week Barrett does not exist as he's going to Bologna. And then the week after, obviously neither Barrett or I exist. So it's been a whole lot of crunch time, but that hasn't stopped me from dabbling a little bit in Universus in my free time at both my favorite game store here in Austin, Wonko's Toys and Games, at both my Spirit Forge pre-rift as well as our Star Wars Unlimited Twin Suns night. I had a couple folks express interest in learning UVS to me, so they bought a couple of King of Fighter challengers, a couple Street Fighter challengers, and I got to teach them. I got to play Chun-Li, teach them how to play. That was super cool. That guy was really fun, and I tried not to freeze too many of their foundations, but it was a good time. It was a good time. And then I also opened my own King of Fighters challengers that I got from work, and slapped Team Hero into my little Apocalypse Levi deck, because that deck's fire attuned and plays bad block mods and loves taking damage. So we've got like Driven by Retribution and Sacrifice for the Cause and all these gigantic 3-diff foundations in our deck. And I love building 2-diff assets instead of 3-diff foundations. That's really cool. Very, very cool.
Oh, Apocalypse Levi. I understand.
Has air fire.
Your name is Levi. I thought you had a staff card, and you just like named it Apocalypse Levi, and I was like, I haven't heard about this at all. But I now fully understand where we're at. Yes, I dig it. I dig it. I'm in. I'm caught back up.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very fun. Yeah.
I've been playing Midoriya. I think that deck is broken. I think that deck is the deck to win the All of Worlds. Argue with the wall. I think that guy's crazy. But then last night, I heard the Sirens call, and I played. I replayed Jester with the new Guilty Gear stuff and Hadir, and it was broken, man. that character's got 100 health when you Roman cancel with her. It's crazy.
Bro, you be tutoring that Megalomania?
I am playing on life. I don't even need it.
Yeah.
So
wait. What are you specifically gaining from main symboling life? Because you get Hadir no matter what.
So I get Hadir no matter what. So I can spend the big thing that I get is falling heel strike to do the loop. And I killed Paul last night just doing that to keep my carpool clear. Like I did that a couple times, stunned down his board from it, kept my carpool clear, and then like played out 3 actual attacks afterwards. And it was
okay. I see the vision. Yeah, that's good.
So sick.
That is good.
Oh, and Hunter's Ally. Yeah. Hunter's Ally is huge.
Yeah, Hunter's Ally is crazy. That card just feels like it keeps getting crazier and crazier. It's a good thing that we made a dope promo of it.
Yeah. Command Pigeon Flock could never.
Command Pigeon Flock could never build in Genghis Frog and make all my kickflips actually worth playing.
Command Pigeon Flock has never built Paul Rudd in its entire life, and it never will.
if you just take off the foundation restriction, cut the other ability, it's surprisingly still just really good.
Especially when they types. Yeah, especially when they print 5 diff allies.
Yeah. Gotta have your friends, dude.
I dig it. I dig it. Okay, we've got a ton of questions that have come in. Again, chat, if you want more questions, please spend your hard-earned channel points on them. I'll keep track of that, as well as open up tickets in the chat. We keep talking about Command Pigeon Flock, which brings us to our first question by Sketch. Let me get it on here. Which is, will all major formats be supported at regionals this year? So this is a bit of a time where this is the easy jumping off point. But Levi, talk to us a little bit about skipping over Worlds, because we're gonna have a ton of information about Worlds. What can you tell me about regionals? Because next year looks very bright, and I want to hear a ton about next year because I'm so incredibly excited from all the things that I have heard the whispers of. Don't whisper at me. Shout it to the rooftops. What's happening in 2026, man?
Yeah, I mean, all of the world's cats are totally out of the bag by now. You know, that schedule is out there. Every event is live. That schedule looks sweet, by the way. Hitch is God King Hitch is at it again. In my mind, there's really enough for World, but to just pull that trigger and make the whole shebang happen. Which means that for a while now, I've been mentally very much living in 2026. So we can touch on some of that stuff. As far as formats go, it's definitely no secret. Standard Constructed is going to be the primary main event format. All your major competitive events, local championships, regionals, the UCS, you're playing Standard Constructed at all of those. Not going to be any mixing and matching going on there. However, as promised, all of the major events are going to have premier events for both teams and retro. So you're used to seeing those formats in some capacity, but this year it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be very dedicated. And of course, like I said in the roadmap video, there's going to be unique pricing for both those premier teams and retro events at every single major event. And then, your side event roster is going to have kind of everything you expect. Standard, Hero 2, 3v3, almost everything that's at Worlds, save for maybe the occasional Spotlight format. Spotlight format is kind of in a weird place. There's very much such a thing as too many formats, especially when my goal this year is all scheduled side events. I really need to figure out what you guys want to play rather than just shotgunning. We can play on demand anything. Okay, well, what happens in my 50 players out of the main event after the first few rounds? 10 of them want this, 10 of them are here for this, 12 are queuing for this, and now suddenly I can't even fire anything in a meaningful capacity. The main thing about Spotlight, ironically enough, not really getting the Spotlight this year, is it's just Hero 2, man. Hero 2 is the newcomer that I think is going to kind of come in and clean up a lot of the necessity for those Spotlight formats. And when I say necessity for Spotlight formats, that is a fancy way of saying supporting rotated cards, because MHA Spotlight is kind of the main one that people have shown interest in, and I think the interest in that one is one that's, it's not big, but it is slightly growing because, well, we have 3 sets of MHA out of the card pool. And by the time these regionals start, we're going to have another 3. That's a lot. And so MHA Spotlight would be doing a great thing there. But I think that Hero 2 is really going to kind of come in and serve that niche instead as sort of like a, modern type of equivalent for Universus or something like that. But, we'll see. I think this is going to be more successful than like branching those IPs off into several other formats. But at the end of the day, you guys are going to, you're going to vote with your wallets. You attend those side events in whatever capacity you desire, and you tell me what's up, or just find me at any event and tell me what's up. That helps too.
Obviously, Barrett, you can jump in anytime you want, but you do work with the man in the same department, and so none of this is new. But if there's anything that you want to jump in, add, ask clarifying questions because you do know how the sausage is made, please feel free to do so. I don't want you to sit here and hang out,
I mean, a lot of it, obviously, Levi's gonna say, and I'm just gonna be like, "Yep, that's exactly what we're doing." But I think in the same sense of what he said, right? Like, we want the players to vote with their wallet. Like, we want to learn what they want to see, because while all this 2026 stuff is happening and unfolding, and we believe we have a very good lineup for you all, the decisions that the players make and what they choose to support will directly influence our plans for 2027. So, like, we want people to tell us and let us know, because if anybody's listening, it's us two right here. So we're going to give you exactly what you want. Of course, catering to as many people as possible as we can, but you can do that
we just got to find out what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a world where Hero 2 bombs at Worlds and halfway through the regionals, and then I have a lot to rethink about the rest of the year and how I'm going to look at that format next year, but we just have to find out. And then when it comes to the name, honestly, Heroic was an amazing name. Absolutely fantastic name. I just wanted to make my own, and I thought about Hero 2, and I thought it was very cute in the sense of both the pun, because like that format is basically Hero plus Hero 2, and it's a dope nod to Jetburn, my favorite anything set actually that we've ever made.
Interesting.
And the set I got hired on.
Yeah, it's a time capsule.
It really is.
You alluded to special pricing for the different formats. Do you have any idea what it could possibly be, Cardboard? Or is it, do you think like, do you think that like, is any of that even remotely solidified, Cardboard? Or do you think you're going to have to like, it's a wait and see type Cardboard idea? What kind of spoilers, Cardboard, can you give me, Cardboard?
I'm gonna have to drop the dime here, and I'll say, one, yes, it's completely figured out. It's all already done and made. And B, it's not Cardboard. Sorry.
Okay.
The increase we've got a big increase this year when it comes to Cardboard, with every regional having the alt backup in it. I'm not saying that means we can't expand more like that in the future, especially for things that are a lot less of a load on us. Mechanically unique, designing your own character, as opposed to just Kelly, who you want to be reskinned as. That's a much easier load for us. So, never say never when it comes to expansion there, but I will clarify that it's not Cardboard, which is probably something I should have done before. Because I mean, if you promise any Universus or any UFS historian, hey, we're bringing teams back and it's going to have unique pricing, yeah, your first thought probably would be Cardboard.
Cardboard.
Like we're literally making, we're literally catching up with the team's assets right now.
even reskinned Cardboard, if the regional stuff like takes off or whatever for 2027, I think would be a dope place to look.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's also something that we're going to find out this year. We're going to find out if just doing an alt art of yourself is also a really compelling Cardboard prize. I think based on the reactions I've seen on the internet and in the community so far about the backups pricing, I think it's a slam dunk and probably a space we'll explore more in the future. But for this year, for this OP series, just going to be the backups. No Cardboard is coming into teams in retro as of this program.
Can I clarify something? I want to say that I read in the announcement that you could choose a backup or a shift backside card. Is that true?
It is not. It is no longer true. That was a bit of an oversight on my part. I sent that info live without exploring the logistics of it first, and it's actually not something that we can do. It is just going to be a normal standalone backup card.
Okay.
Sorry, that one's
Because
on me.
I was confused how like, do I get to be the Beast Titan attacks and then also the Beast Titan on the back, or what? Because I would have dropped it exclusively played just to be Beast Titan attacks. I'm just letting you know. I would have. It's what I would have done.
Well, see, that's why I actually had to do it. That's why I actually had to do it. I couldn't lose you this year. No,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Attack Titan Kingmaker will not be turning into Tamrin's determination. That'd be pretty sweet though.
I'm
right?
dressed up like
He just,
Rosie
like,
the
eating
Riveter.
No, you gotta be like eating the finger or whatever he's doing in that card.
Ah.
Yeah. Just
And a little clarification on it too. Like I think at the end of the day, like although we do allow our players to have already like pre-sleeved shifted versions of cards for simplicity in the game, like for moving pieces out, we don't want to actually be handing people incomplete cards. So I think for that reason, we're gonna probably stay away from the shifted stuff. But that doesn't mean we don't want to still fulfill the other options. So, I mean, like again, if, at the end of the day, you want to be a really cool Genghis Frog impersonator, you can, we can have a conversation, So
if you ask Sam Tate, currently it's the race to Little Mister. That's what
yeah,
he thinks.
I
He
agree.
thinks-
I said
he
that last
thinks-
week.
Yeah, he thinks round one is for sure Little Mister. We'll see though. I mean, it just depends who wins. There's a world where Chris Brownlee comes in and picks, the massive abnormal Titan.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's what I'm excited for.
And I hope he does the art like me and David did on our webcam playmat of me as the really
It's
gross Titan.
Literally, it's just that, but with Christopher's
But with
head.
Chris,
Yeah, that's everything I
that's
want.
what I want.
Yeah, and then
Looking up.
he's just surrounded, instead of like all of the scouts on horses, he's just surrounded by a bunch of little unfunicorns.
Whoa, that's so tight.
That's it.
Can you imagine as an artist receiving that prompt?
ChatGPT could
I'd
never.
like quit. Never. Oh, literally never.
From the chat, Sketch, same person who's very much cares about all the formats. Is there any chance of retro reprints of staples this year for event pricing? Question mark. I'm sure.
When it comes to what the hits on cards this year that you'll see in various promos, I don't got any hard deeds to share though. Sorry.
Okay.
Soon
Cool.
though.
Soon. Like maybe in 2 weeks. We're gonna move on. Our next one is coming up. We're taking a look. This is a quick one from Corina. I'm not even going to put it up on here. Can players who qualified for Worlds but are unable to attend pay for entry for the participation prizing if someone picks it up for them? I want to say you guys have already answered this, correct?
I think so.
Yeah.
But just for clarity, yeah, man. As long as you can show us proof of some kind that you're picking up for them, a message or an email or whatever, it's totally fine for other folks to pick up your items. I explicitly want to do this because I want to make sure that ample amounts of these really dope Worlds items can make it to those other regions that it's a lot harder to attend Worlds from.
Okay. I dig it. Well, we're going to stick in organized play, obviously, and kind of go
Where else
into
would
a
we go?
space that's a little more like your old job, Barrett. Talking a bit about the Redemption Store. Some crazy stuff has been happening on the Redemption Store. I want to make sure I give credit to this person. This is the way that we are doing this is fun. It's fun for me.
More work for you.
Way more work for me. And that is, what is your opinion on the Redemption Store? Do you think it should be geared more toward novelty or the competitive scene? Thoughts? And I want to start off with Barrett rather than Levi, just because you were in that space when it comes to we're putting more unique cards on the store, right? It started with the OG tournament packs, as well as the last one that I could really think of was things like the Tekken characters, and now we've got 3 KOF characters that 2 are retro reprints coming into standard, which is crazy. We haven't even talked about that. And then we have a brand new mechanically unique character that is going to be coming out in the form of King. What are your thoughts on the Redemption Store? And to add it into Levi, how is the Redemption Store in your mind when it comes to getting these regional promos or exclusive promos or whatever into the hands of players who happen to have that FOMO. Barrett, you first, buddy.
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, everybody should understand that the Redemption Store is actually just the modern version of a precursor that did already exist. Um, a long time ago, Jasco had I want to say it was called like the drive-by store or something, or I don't remember what it was called, but you could go online and you could basically purchase champ cards or exclusive promos that were given out at conventions and stuff like that, and it was meant to be an accessible place so that if you couldn't go to those events, because hey, spoiler alert, traveling is expensive, you still wanted to have access to these game pieces. And we no matter what, I think we do not believe in a exclusive mechanically unique game piece for a small few. We want, if it is a game piece that is going to be playable in anybody's deck, anybody should have access to it. So I personally obviously really support the Redemption Store, as it is a way for us to still create cool items more so than just play mats and alternate promos, obviously, of cards that are easy to get from like booster upsets. But I think there is room, and I think we learned from the mechanically unique Tekken 8 characters that came out with those starter decks back in 2024. I think it showed that people were interested in these mechanically unique ones. Obviously, Devil Jin was very good. But if they're immediately accessible to the people with a currency that we hand out anyway for the sake of showing support to the game, I think it's a place for them to exist without necessarily overbearing to the player. Now, obviously, with the shift of points and how they exist now, again, as long as you're playing the game, as long as you're getting some product, you will have enough points to get these. And I think characters are the sweet spot of you only really need one. And so how many events do you actually have to go to redeem this kind of promo? And of course, on the game design side, we do make a good job that we don't want, a Devil Gem to go out again. If we want to make a mechanically unique thing, we would like it to be something that is fun and interesting to you, but we don't want it to be something you feel like you're mandatory to buy.
Levi, thoughts on the Redemption Store?
Yeah. So the Redemption Store, it's in a really unique spot, in the sense that it's this program that historically was solely handled by the game design team. But nowadays, the director of game design and the director of organized play are the same human.
Yeah.
That on top of the reward store, obviously have an impact on organized play. It means that there's going to be a lot more crossover than there was before. I didn't exactly come into this role right now early enough to have any significant changes on the reward store this year. So you can expect it to mostly remain the same as 2025. That being said, though, changes was not really the question. The question was my opinion on it. Rather than that, I think I'll give you my perspective a little bit.
Sure.
I think the reward store should kind of just play an integral part in bridging like product, local play, and then just dope items. I think it's fine for it to be geared towards novelty and competitive. I think it should walk more so hand in hand as a strong partner to Major OP, rather than kind of this standalone thing that feels different and has like its own unique stuff. Obviously, unique is our buzzword here. The mechanically unique cards are kind of a big piece in question. Those provide, when they come into rotation, it is a nice chase. It's great, but it can also kind of hurt competitive integrity a little bit when those items don't really line up with major events, in the event that you're a new player seeking out those cards for and they just don't come back around. We're going to be a little bit better about that this year. You can probably expect to see major OP events lining up with the rotations of those unique cards a little bit, as well as potentially more appearances of those cards on the prize walls at the major event, just to really help that accessibility, barring, the quantities of those actually existing. If you guys could them all out, I clearly won't have any more on the prize wall. And then maybe we have to have a conversation about making another print run of them, which, when they're like the champ cards and they're unlicensed, that's actually pretty darn easy. So yeah. I don't think you should really worry too much about accessibility of those cards in the future. And when it comes to the licensed ones, the number of those is significantly pumped up compared to the champion cards. I don't think you'll have to worry about those running out anytime soon, or me not ever having any ascent for a prize wall. You're also already seeing a little bit of this mindset in action, actually. The appearance of all the champ cards in the reward store literally right now in these weeks leading up to Worlds, that was a direct request from me a couple weeks ago, and I'm very, very thankful of them for accommodating it.
Oh yeah. In the same vein, and this question has been asked now twice by the same person, so we'll okay, everybody chill. The redemption for local play on the player side, it feels like it is churning. The judge program, which has been asked for over and over and over again, feels like it is has been forgotten again, from your predecessor. Not to speak ill of the gone, but like, is there any info on the judge program? We rolled out these like judge points. How are they being used? It feels Redemption Store-esque. Like what does how can somebody move up from level 1 to level 2? Is there like, what is the plan for that? All in all, like, as organized play, you should be working hand in hand with, the people who make the game. What does judging look like from organized play standpoint?
Yeah, you don't even really need fine details on those. You can just really ask, hey, what the heck is up with the judge program?
Yeah, what's the judge program, man?
That's a perfectly valid question. The state of the judge program is a little bit awkward right now. There's no secrets there. Clearly, there were some things that were promised that are not around right now, and it doesn't feel like it's had a ton of attention lately. It's just one of those things that's kind of been like sitting still amidst like all of these sweeping monthly changes, and has just not been like the biggest kind of sonar on the radar right now. But it is on the radar. When it comes to things like judge coins and judge rewards and exclusive items and a judge store and stuff like that, those are all still really dope ideas swirling around in my mind, but I cannot give you exact timelines on when stuff like that is coming to fruition. However, though, when it comes to just like filling out the logistics of the program, as in how can players qualify for the next stage, how can they get to be level 2, how can they actually get to be in the running for judging major events this year, because, Levi guy, I sure told you got to be level 2 to judge a regional. Some people who have regional experience have kind of already started there, but some haven't. It's all kind of a little all over the place right now, but you can expect that to be cleaned up and codified before regionals kick off this year.
Okay, before regionals is a very fast timeline because of how quick the turnaround is. So that is, I dig it. I think that is a completely acceptable answer of, we're gonna have something. So I guess we'll just hold you to it. Bear, anything to add here?
We have some wonderful new people even on our organized play currently that are experts in this kind of field and are already using technology that they've learned from their experience for Riftbound, and there's no reason why we can't also incorporate that over on our oversight here. So we have a little bit more guidance now as well as like Levi said, we have to figure it out anyway when we're coming into these regionals, because we have to have it together. So yeah, it is coming. It is something we all care about, as we all want our judges taken care of just as much as our players, because that's how these events even happen.
I dig it. You said the magic word. This is the you said Riftbound, so let's talk about it. From Paul, could we see Best of Prizing possibly appear for UVS?
Tam, are you a Star Wars fan?
I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Dope. So I remember very, very vividly the moment that Josh kind of first sat me down and told me about this idea for these Riftbound best of metal cards, and I was obviously smitten. This whole idea of providing like a reason to go against the deck building grain a little bit, and sort of at the same time kind of give like events several unique avenues to approach them from for the unique prizes. Very, very, very cool. Super duper dope. Very epic. All that aside, Cam, you as a Star Wars fan, you should know the best Padawans. They tend to follow very closely, very, very closely in the footsteps of their masters. So stay tuned.
Okay. I think that's an acceptable answer to anybody at home. Bear, I do need a hard yes or no though from you. Like, you don't get to dodge the. I need a 51% right now. Bear, did you cut out? Bear, are you
I
frozen?
think the only thing I want to say is that I think when an idea like this is talked about other people or talked about with other people that also think this is such a killer idea and it was a knockout of the park, I think at Houston, there are other people on the team that are also behind and support this sort of thing. So when you get a bunch of cooks, you do sometimes make a banquet.
Make a banquet. Ooh, okay.
Lightsabers. A banquet of lightsabers.
A banquet of lightsabers, apparently. Okay, so that's pricing in the future. We got a question about pricing. Now, hold on. Let me make sure.
We just did a question about pricing. Which one is it, Tam?
We got a question about pricing in the future. Let's talk about pricing now. Thoughts on modifying the pool rates of alt arts in the local play packs. They go on to say the pool rates are not very good and feels bad to not open one.
Yeah, so that's only a little bit in my department. Specifically, everything for this year, weekly play pack wise. I'll actually clarify as like a global thing here. Anything licensed pricing wise, I have not had the ability to impact or affect this year. That's all been set in stone ages ago. So I didn't really have any input on that sort of thing. Now, for next year, those are conversations we're actively having right now, actually, on if there should be any modification of that. There's a couple takeaways. How good can you make a hit before it gets too good? Can you have enough of them that players still want to go back? How many alt arts can you even make? How much art do we have access to? There's kind of just a lot of moving parts there. If you want just my personal perspective on them, elements have been key to look forward to in every pack that's a little bit unique. Even if it's not necessarily something that's pretty much a prop, just some kind of unique piece in there. And I'm also really a big fan of having some kind of golden views to chase as well. So maybe look forward to something like that when it comes to some future pack designs.
Bear, anything you want to add?
I don't even know what the pull rates currently are, so so no, I'm not an expert on this. I apologize. But if they're not great, I think that kind of feedback is important. I think we listen to any feedback when it comes to stuff like that, so that everyone along the process that made that decision wants to hear feedback like that, because that is important. So if you're loud enough, maybe things change.
I'll take it. Open a pack of 3 hollows feels so lame, not to mention the bad alts. I guess that's fair, lie. I guess that's fair. 2027 or 8 or 30. We'll figure it out. it will happen. Let's get a little lighter, a little less accusatory.
Yeah. Before we move on,
please.
I just want us to remember that we used to live in Plus Ultra Pack world. And that's it. That's just all. That's all. It's all good thing. We used to live in Plus Ultra Pack world, and we don't anymore.
We did used to live in Plus Ultra Pack world. That's fair. How's your love for playing Universus changed since working for the company? A very fun question from Void Destroyer. I have Baird on every week, and he's a real sourpuss about the game pretty much all the time. And so let's have a bit of light from Levi coming in and talking about his love of the game.
Man, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's changed a lot. For me, a big part of like my love for the game was always kind of the connection I had with the community through my content. Obviously, that's not there anymore. I'm still very connected to the community, but I'm not sitting down with 10, 12 people every week helping them build decks on Patreon and putting together commissioned videos and then doing all these fun vlogs and stuff with the community at events. I'm not doing all that anymore. I'm doing a lot more for the game, and that feels great. But it's sort of like I went from being like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, saving cats from trees and walking grains across the road. Now I'm like Nick Fury, behind the scenes, doing whatever it takes to make the game happen. That's not a ship I'm into at all. I love it. In fact, I wouldn't still be here if I didn't. I'd be alliteration gaming again, doing Patreon deck commissions with you guys. But I can do so much more for the game there, and that makes me feel good. It's certainly very different in practice. So my connection with the community has changed a whole lot. But I would say it's gotten better, and that is a significant portion of my enjoyment of the game. As far as just playing myself, that's also changed a lot. Even when I was commentating every single event, never playing competitively at all and just doing content, I certainly had a much deeper connection to the competitive side of the game because I was, I had to, or else I'd be a pretty bad commentator if I wasn't, completely up to date with all the competitive lists and choices and others. Now I don't necessarily have a lot of obligations to be in that. And that's definitely different. I show up to the San Antonio crowd of locals every now and then, or go hang out with a couple Austin friends. And most of the time, I'm teaching the game, or we're just with fun decks. The second they take anything out that I even remotely understand is S tier above, I'm like, we can play, man, but you're not going to get a lot out of it. So I'm certainly a lot less competitively minded now, simply because I don't really have to be for my job, nor do I really have any avenue. I'm not going to say any reason to be. I certainly like to keep tabs on what's doing well, especially when it comes to gathering feedback for the design team at these events. But the kind of, core of it is that that's not what my job is about anymore. My job is much more about the events themselves and extracurricular thing. So I don't have as much of a hand in that pile anymore, but you will sure catch me teaching this game every single opportunity I can find. And you know, I got the Levi experience staff that gets updated every set.
Apocalypse Levi.
Apocalypse Levi, yeah.
Retribution
Yeah.
Levi.
Barrett,
Yeah, Retribution Levi.
same question. Going from playtest into organized play, two things that I think that, how do I say this without it sounding like a compliment? You are an expert at. I think. I think you are very good at both playing the game and helping design. And now I'm so excited for you to help run our organized play section. I think it's a great fit for you. How has your love of the game changed?
Well, that was a lot more compliments I was expecting from you.
And you smell. Just talk about that too.
I'll be honest. I was actually kind of already talking with Levi about this during work the other day of like learning my new role now as organized play, using my experience as a game designer to some capacity because, like you said, it does matter. But also just like figuring out like this new role. I think my specific relationship with Universus, and this is no surprise, I've talked about this all the time, but like I mean, having joined game design, I have never loved the game more and wanted to own more decks and play the game, even though I was playing the game 40 hours a week for testing purposes, so that everyone could have fun game pieces. I think I'm still. I think my relationship with the game now on organized play has not changed. Is I am very blessed that the new position that I may have, I don't get to change what I was doing in proximity with the community. Levi has still allowed me to commentate and be on stream and still come to these events in the same capacity that I already was, but in the words of Tam, I help make the sausage with Levi a little bit behind the scenes now. And so at least the only real big difference now when I go to Universus events is going to be if someone needs help because of something from UVS Games in the event space department, I am now more informed, if anything. I'm more informed and I can help get things done. I can help get a hold of people that are going to help fix some things. On the other side of that, my job has maybe also created a little bit more distance with Universus, which, I mean, we're going to have to see how it goes this year, but I'm now also heavily involved with Riftbound, as everyone is very aware with that. And so I'll be kind of playing double duty this year, but I just don't see how that relationship with both games doesn't help bring both of them up. I think the things that we're doing with Riftbound is solely based off of the experience that we have learned from working on Universus for all these years. And a lot of the things that I think we can bring to uplift Universus to a higher level is because of some of the ambitious things we're trying to do with Riftbound. I'm excited to be at both events across the entire year. I'm excited to, even for the first time in my entire life, go to conventions and other outside events as an organized play representative, and just like Levi said, teach the game to people, get them excited about it, while being able to do it for both of these games. My only fear is I probably, in the same kind of capacity that Levi was talking about, is because I'm not as closely related to game design currently. Um, I'll be a little more surprised of what comes out in the future, without actually directly playing with the pieces as much as I used to. But that doesn't mean throughout this whole year I was a part of everything that came out this year, and I'll be at every event to see how they unfold and to hear people's opinions and how they feel about the cards that we've made as a company. So at the end of the day, it has only made it better. So my love of the game, having changed since working for the company, I think has only ever gone up, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the game. So nothing but grateful, of course.
I'll drop a link to Universus ramblings down in the description down below that you guys can get all of Barrett's new opinions on all the cards as they come out.
Man, Barrett is so cool. Barrett's so freaking cool, man.
I don't know about that one. Speaking of which, as you so kindly pointed out, as of the new year, obviously I have been very, very slow at Riftbound creation content, and the reality is I am learning my new job and trying to do the best I can. So will Riftbound Ramblings resume videos? Yes, of course, in the future. But right now I care more about making sure that every Riftbound event and Universus event is the best that they can be. So I'm doing a little step back from the content creation at this moment. So
It's my fault, guys. I'm working Barrett to the bone. I taught him how to make I'm taught him how to make ship sheets last week. It's getting really exciting.
You guys happy? You feel good? You're warm and bubbly? Let's
always
let's talk about the elephant in the room. What led to the decision to make regionals US only this year by Anonymous?
Coming out swinging. Man. Okay. Yeah, this is obviously a hot topic. And not your favorite goth store in the mall. For 2026 organized play, man, a big focus for me was just scaling. You know, like I'll be pretty blatant. We had a lot of regionals last year, like a lot, like more than ever, especially in those non-US regions, and we put a lot into those events. You know, several cases of boosters, tons of prize wall promos, playmats, uncut sheets, a dedicated live stream with commentators, a UVS Games employee heading over there, booking TOs, booking venues. It's a lot. And for a lot of the events last year, we just really didn't see the results we needed. We didn't hit the metrics we needed for the continuation of the regionals at that crazy amount. And I want to be clear when I say that this is not on the fault of the players. You guys showed the heck up. Like, y'all were in full force. I was at multiple EU events. I was at an OC event this year. The players were amazing. Y'all were great hosts. You were good sports. Like, the feeling in every single one of these rooms is literally electric. Like, the interactions and the experiences that I got to have at those events, they will stay with me for a very long time, and they continue inspiring me in my work that I do to this day. When I say the events fell short of those metrics, I mean that we simply do not have enough players in these areas to meet the metrics of what a regional should look like. And also, when I say that, I mean what a regional was like last year. Never mind the fact that this year, you know, they're going to be so much better than they were last year. All that stuff I mentioned that we put into them, you know, start tackling things like bringing artists over to these events, all these extra prizing and travel vouchers and round buys, all of these custom deck boxes and sleeves. There's going to be a lot more put into these things now. And so where does that leave us? The truth is, it leaves us in a very tough spot. Once again, it's that scaling conversation. It doesn't mean that we can just leave these areas without regionals high and dry. In fact, it's quite the opposite. What I did learn last year, while those areas weren't really hitting these deep, big regional metrics, they were, however, very successful at having these awesome, smaller 32 to 64 person events in a more LGS type setting. And, you know, my numbers there are very intentional because that's the energy that I'm hoping to kind of achieve and recreate in the new local championship program. And, you know, there's a ton of comparisons to do there. Obviously, the local championships are going to be a lot better. Travel vouchers, regional buys, more promos. That still doesn't quite compare to a lot of those unsustainable rewards that were inside the regionals. And again, it's because those were unsustainable. What is still there, though, is very ample amounts of ways to engage with the greater OP system. I'm pulling up some of my internal documents here because there's a lot of spreadsheets with a lot of math that when some of these decisions that I think is relevant to break down. Right now, in round one, we have 5 OCE LCs and we have 8 EU LCs. If we continue that cadence for every single round, that means OCE will have 20 UCS invites by the end of round 4, and the EU is going to have 32 UCS invites by the end of round 4. Currently, in this year's model, the OCE has 46 players qualified for Worlds, and the EU has 59 players qualified for Worlds. So slightly bigger numbers than these 2026 UCS invite numbers based on the LC winners. But that is also assuming that every single one of those invited players comes to Worlds, and we'll see what those numbers look like in literally 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's also not counting that, barring all of those invites, the 2026 UCS, unlike Worlds, has an open avenue. It has the sudden death qualifier that anyone can enter regardless of their invite. So when you kind of put all that together, there is just as much, if not more, opportunity for non-US players to engage with the greater organized play. And while they aren't going to be, these massive, crazy regionals, they will actually have much more regular major OP beats with the local championships. So there's a lot of push and pull there. There's a lot of middle ground, but I think what we're kind of injecting into those events is, for one, it's going to scale a lot better, and two, it's going to be actually sustainable. That way we don't have to keep playing tug of war with you guys every time the OP program makes some twists and turns. And so that's kind of where we ended up with that decision. There was not really a world where we could maintain the current regionals as well as significantly improve them without sort of reshaping what a regional really means and what it needs to be to hit those areas. There's only so many ways that you can introduce new epic prizing when you have to balance it around being given out in a 40 to 60 person event and a 200 plus person event. And that's kind of where that one is.
One second.
If you're waiting for me to say something, Levi's in charge.
Yes, you have diplomatic immunity, Barrett. You are good.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've seen everything that you have done. The things that you have. I'll use the word leaked. I'm under contract, so I can't say anything. But like the things that you've like you've leaked to me of like, this is my plan, this is the execution, here's what we're doing. And it's sick. It really is. It feels less like, hold on, I'm under contract, I have to be positive. Nah, I don't care. It feels like it's not an empty promise, but I do think that this first regional is going to be the proof is in the pudding of put your money where your mouth is. Please, we've heard this 100 times. And from behind closed doors, it feels like your plans are the biggest that I have heard so far and the furthest flushed out that I have heard so far of things to be coming and things to be doing. And truthfully, you haven't had your job very long, which does make me excited. Or you're in the position that you're in. It's not been very long. But here's the clippable question. In 2027, is there a non-zero chance that we get regionals for non-US participants? Even one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I just have to see that the players are there. I have to be able to look at our UGN numbers and say there could potentially be, 100 to 200 plus players that could attend an event here. And then, I can swipe the card and say, boom, we're going to do all these crazy things that we're doing in the US events right there overseas. But the scaling has to be appropriate and it's got to make sense. When you see all these new things going on in these 2026 regionals, you are going to stare at it and go, wow, yeah, okay, that could never be the pricing for a 60-person event or even an 80-person event. It's a lot of it's going to make sense when you see some of these changes, and even some of the stuff that you've already seen. Something like putting cardboard. Currently we only put cardboard of any kind into Worlds as a pricing, and so what's typically expected to be a 200 to 300 person event. Now cardboards and regionals, that bar is just raised a lot higher, and the scaling of the the tournament itself has to make sense with that. And again, right now, those are all just empty promises. I've got to actually show you guys what I mean when I'm talking about all these regional improvements, because it's going to look really bad if we get to the first regional this year. It feels just like Denver did at the start of last year, and then every single player is going to go, "Wow, yeah, we sure could have still gotten that over here, past the oceans." And my goal is to help you guys understand that a little bit better once these events are actually executing, and once you see a lot of this pricing in action, it will make sense.
Let's move from overseas regionals and talk about the things that they can play in, which is local championships. Local championships this year were kind of all over the place. They were everywhere. You could go to 1,000 of them. There might have been that many scheduled. Why are there so many fewer local championships? We only have 40 across the entire world each season, and there are 4 seasons. Correct? Am I crazy?
4 rounds.
4 rounds. And so why you took away regionals for overseas? I get it. But I'm a U.S. player, and I have privilege. Why do I have less local championships than normal?
Yeah. So, you've probably seen me say a few times in conversations, and even in a couple articles, actually, that local championships have had so many changes going into this OP series that they almost feel like completely different events. Take that interpretation as you will, but with that new structure, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to the preconceived notions of what these events are, because they still have the same name, but in execution, they'll be completely different, really. Conceptually, turning them into these more seldom premier events that are worth traveling for, that have higher stakes, high rewards, that all sounded great on paper. But then comes that nasty old scaling conversation again. The higher the stakes, the fewer the events you can have in order to keep them meaningful. In execution, it was very hard to think about what was the right number of these events in order to sort of maintain their prestige, but also their accessibility. How many stores are actually capable of hitting this new worthy metric? And then also, are they spread out enough to keep everyone involved? And when I say that, I mean outside the US in those regions, and also within the US itself. Ultimately, when you look at the spread of the LCs, at least for round 1 and round 2, we ended up skewered much more towards where our game is played and where the players are. That is the most non-negotiable aspect of this program, as it makes the most sense to hold events that I expect 16 players to attend in areas where at least 16 players exist. That did prove a little tough, but I think we achieved a pretty good middle ground for hitting our clusters of players. But it is also very easy to say, well, just have more LCs, right? But there's one big limitation factor when it comes to the LCs, and it's actually not the travel vouchers. I'll give out as many of those things as I want if it keeps getting me 16 to 32 person events. By all means, sign me up. But the primary prize that's more non-negotiable in these new LCs is that invite into the UCS. So you have to ask yourself a question there. How many of those can UVS games give out before it stops making sense, before it stops feeling meaningful? If you do some math, there's 160 LCs. There's the top 8 at all 4 regionals, and then the top 8 from 2025 Worlds. We've got 200 UCS invites going out in this new system. I'm going to pull up some other numbers here that are relevant to this conversation to try and find this correct number here of how many UCS invites we can give out, which is almost the same as saying how many LCs can we have. Most of these are the LCs. I tried to track how many active competitive players we had this year, and everything I'm talking about is just literally going to be points-related public info on the UGN. You could do all this math yourself. You could figure it out all yourself if you really wanted to, but I sort of defined active as roughly anyone with 20 points. That's a pretty wide metric, but in my mind, if you got 20 points this year, you went to at least 2 LCs, probably more. But if it's only 2, you also won both of them. I think that's a fairly okay metric for an active player. So in the US, when it comes to 20 points, we had 385 players. In the OC, with 20 points, we had 56 players. And in the in the EU, with 20 points, we had 96 players. So all of that together.
The points at the LCs were the same. I know that there was math adjusted for what the invite was, but LCs gave out the same number of points for each region.
Yes. If you're asking, yes.
Continue.
Yeah, payouts were all the same.
Love it.
So I'm just kind of trying to look at how many events you actually attended.
Yeah.
And so that total number there is 537 folks across the globe with 20 points. So let's just keep rolling with that logic. We got 537 active players. What is a good number for balancing? How many of those folks would get direct UCS invites? And instead, how many should be in the sudden death qualifier? If half the player base has an invite, is that still meaningful? Is that number more like 2/3? For me, I wanted the majority of players to be in the sudden death qualifier. If you worked for a UCS invite, you should feel like you're in the minority of players there. So if we're thinking we've got 537 active players, 200 invites sort of just makes that mark. That's a little less than half. So you're in the minority there. Now, we'll all, 337 of those remaining players, are they going to go to the UCS and play the Sun Death qualifier?
They better.
Definitely not. Almost certainly not. That is very, very, very hard to say, especially because 152 of those players have to make a big trip outside of the country to do that. So, is this 537 player number even remotely accurate? Well, it turned out there's a big difference between the assumed active player and someone that might actually go to the UCS, whether it's via invite or via the Sun Death qualifier. So basically, the summarization here is all these variables are nearly impossible to account for. And all I can really follow through is the rough metric on how many players exist. Because the truth of this all is that 537 is probably a pretty vast overestimation. And if anything, the more that number is overestimated, the less UCS invites there should actually be. In reality, 200 invites might be pushing it a little bit. It'd be nice to have infinite LCs, but what happens when we get to the UCS and there's 300 folks in the main event and 20 in the sudden death qualifier where 16 make it through? All in all, this whole program was very hard to predict. It's very experimental. And especially for these first 2 rounds, we have literally 0 executed data on to operate from the stores. So at the end of the day, we did the very best we could. And I hope all of this very public data has even a bit more insight into how these numbers came to be. And for everyone who doesn't have an LC near them, I understand. I'm sorry, I'm very sympathetic toward your position. Trust me, I understand it. The reality is the hurdle we have hit there is not, it's less of a, can an OP program account for that in a very meaningful way? And more, we need to grow the game more so that the OP program can just fit into that naturally. And at the end of the day, we do still have OPB, like store scrambles and the pre-releases to kind of fill a lot of that void. And I hope they do. And at the end of the day, you can still go and score a UCF invite at a regional, or if truly all else fails, if you don't have an LC near you, no locals whatsoever, you can't afford to make it to a regional this year, that's fine. Show up day 0 at the UCS, so the Sun Death qualifier will welcome you.
Yeah, you can win it all like Nick Reagan. Easy. just
exactly.
Be as good as Nick Reagan. Simple.
Exactly. That guy didn't need any LCs.
I'll even add a little bit there too on the LC, again the sympathization of if you don't have one. The reality is that you're looking at the 2 people in the room that at the end of the day made that final call, and we want to give chances for people. We want to put LCs in places that we think can actually help foster and grow a player base in these areas. I'm going to hit you with another part. When those LC applications go out for rounds 3 and 4, please, please, please talk to your local game store about submitting an application if you are anywhere in this country that play the game. Because I think the reality is, for a lot of the set, or for round 1 and 2, I think we just didn't get all the applicants that I think we should have.
I agree.
I know many people of my own friends that their stores didn't end up on my list to talk about with Levi to go through. So please apply, because as soon as you put in that application, obviously you're already on our radar, but it shows that interest that you want to be involved that one step further. Because obviously you already communicate with the LGS team that we have, and they're great people, but we're working with them to make sure that these LCs can still hit that good spread. And if we don't get an application from you, we don't think you're interested.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that scaling combo is tough, but it's what we have to keep in the loop if we want these things to feel like meaningful events. And in my opinion, as long as there are other event avenue options um, that maybe not might be as prestigious and have as many crazy rewards, as long as there's still ways for you to engage with Universus organized play in some way, I'm happy. Um, and especially when it comes to that bar and that scaling, especially with a lot of these non-US local championships, we actually made quite a bit of we took into account a lot of that and still selected a lot of stores that, for all we know, might not hit that 16 player metric that we're looking for, simply because we knew that we had to give those regions their LCs. This is their primary way of getting their UCS invites. And even if it doesn't feel like, the amount of players in those clusters exist to make it up there, we are still going and giving out those UCS invites at those non-US regions for these LCs. We made pretty significant concessions there, honestly, because we have to, and you guys deserve the ability to engage with greater organized play.
Yeah, I mean, ma'am, back in my day, we only ever had LC style events. What you're describing is just PTCs, little 30-man events that give you. They're just
LCs
PTCs.
are PTCs.
And they're
just PTCs now.
And they're just it was literally the sickest thing to have 30 dudes just get in a room and just sling cardboard and be like, that guy was the best this time, and watch Keenan Meadows win 4 in a row because he took that $150 plane voucher and just flew to the next one, and then to the next one, and then to the next one. Yep. It's sick. And like if we talk about the fact that we are if you want to go back to grassroots gaming, this is it. We get the small feeling of a grassroots game, and then again, I cannot stress it enough, I'm gonna curse for the first time on this show. The cool shit that Levi has shown me about the regionals is so cool. Levi, if you let me down, I'll never forgive you. We get the big feeling as well as these small grassroots stuff.
Burn you down to the ground.
I mean, that was my next point, was that it's not just that the LCs are now what they are meant to embody that PTC feeling of exactly what you're talking about, of days of old, but even of the days of today. I think of the way people describe the Stark Dark events that happened this past year, like when you get that 16 to 32 people, actual people that want to engage with organized play at that one step higher than just playing at their local games. They were willing to drive 2, 3, maybe 4 hours to go to an event. That's exactly what we're trying to feel, because the regionals that accompany with those LCs next year are supposed to be something that you've never seen before from a regional for Universus, because we have to level it up.
Totally agreed. Absolutely agreed. Yep.
I like this one. I'm going to point it out. Hold on.
Yeah.
Tim Keefe is in chat, and I agree with this one. Can we please do better at scheduling regionals on top of baseball games? Only 1 out of 4 this year. Shake my head. I agree. One of my favorite memories is going to a baseball game with Tim Keefe and Garrett Brett, and it was an absolute blast. Levi, we should get more on that.
I think that with everything that we had to schedule around this year, as in
that's true,
our company's Riftbound events, tons of other card game events, tons of conventions, I'm amazed that we got to go even 1 for 4 on baseball games. That one's right up there in the certainly it's right up there with Wubb's wedding on the radar, but I don't think I could break a contract over it. Right there in that nice middle ground. And
Wubb's wedding's on the radar. It's crazy.
Something that you said there, Tim and Barrett, talking about the Stark Dark events and stuff. I want to see stores do stuff like that so bad with their LCs. I want to see Boar's Hat Gaming have the win a case LC. Put those two together and make it a freaking spectacle. I want to see the Trading Post go crazy. Turn your LC into a 1K, into a 2K. Go nuts with it, man. Go, please.
It is.
I would love to see stores getting super creative and super expansive with these event structures. That's one of my favorite things, honestly, to see in the early days of Star Wars Unlimited. When that game was like crazy in its heyday and these store showdowns, everyone was like, this game is $1 billion. This game's a money printer. Let's make every store showdown a 1K or a 2K or a 5K. Nowadays, those events are significantly smaller, but it's up to the stores to carry that torch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of the same again, the comparison to like the PTCs and like if
ETCs, man.
I could only imagine that if like the reality of like what I would love for this to be, right, is if I do live in California and I'm, an X hour drive away from Reno and when we've been given these LCs, I want to schedule them all in a way amongst with all the other stores that got one in our area so that all of us at every one of these locations can go to the ones again. And it's as if you basically can run 3 weekends in a row of going to PTC level events, and then you reap the rewards of that, and then you don't have to worry about it again until next season. That sounds, frankly, if not the best way to engage with our game without just having to ask our players to go to a regional. Like, if traveling to events it costs money. We get it 100%, and we want you to be there, of course. But like at the end of the day, if there's only one big trip that you can make a year for dedicating to Universus, we want you to be at the UCS. We want you to be there and embracing the game with literally everyone across the globe. But the LCs is that proximity driven one that you can get to and participate into and still feel like you're not just a local player anymore.
Question
as
from the
much
chat.
as I'm talking about.
Go ahead. Finish, then I got a question.
Yeah, as much as I want to make regionals and the UCS so much crazier and so much better this year, that's far from my only mandate coming into leading the OP here. The local scene needs to get a lot better too. The local game store play, it needs to level up. It needs more incentives. It needs more motivation. And I'm not going to go into any hard, private data details on what the average local championship numbers were, even though we had, quote unquote, a million of them every single round. The numbers were not where we wanted to be. There's no secret that there's not enough people playing Universus at their local game stores right now. I'm trying to sweeten that deal, especially with providing stores and really the players the encouragement to kind of rally together and hit those key milestones of 16 and 32, because it literally only gets better for the players from there as the travel vouchers come in. High tides, baby, high tides.
Question from chat. So if we have someone do a Hero 2 format LC, there is no problem. That's a great question. For my local championship, can I run any format that I want? Could I do standard spotlight? Could I do retro? Could I do Hero 2? What is the OP stance on that?
Just standard. Like we said in the very beginning with that first question, standard is the major competitive format this year. We're gonna give a lot of love to the others, but at the end of the day, I want you playing one primary format all the way from start to finish in the major OP. Those events are tying to each other, all the same. Everyone has got the same LC experience. Is I think what I really want to drive home there.
But I will say during PTC days, we did normally run, since they were like our version of a regional hosted by a store. Day one was the tournament. Then we all cut for top 8, and then the next day, the Sunday, we would run top 8 and then host another thing. I mean, there's where you can fit your secondary format,
yes.
hosted by the store, do a bunch of cool promos and giveaways and whatnot.
That's exactly.
So if you as a store want to do your LC as a 2-day event, where day one you make the LC happen, and then day 2 you've got some crazy big Hero 2 event going on, and you're trying to get everyone to come stay the whole weekend. Yes, please. Holy cow, absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, because I can remember, going to the Rockford PTC back in the days of old, and, I didn't top cut the event, which was played on Sunday, of course. These events are meant to be, they can resolve in one day, of course. But But I remember still showing up on Sunday because I wanted to play in the Robot Masters format, this fun little side thing. And so if that fun side thing is retro or Hero 2 or a pre-release that happens to coincide with a product that's happening the same time, absolutely, we should encourage more people to play and participate in more things if they're going to make X amount of hour drive to go to these LCs, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Will LCs require deck lists?
They will, yes. I believe that is public information on the LC page on the website.
Okay.
Judges and deck lists will both be required. Currently, the floor rules do not agree with that because the floor rules state that judges are only suggested for LCs. And that's because that's the old versions of LCs. Those are 2025 LCs, and those are still occurring. Once that final batch of 2025 LCs wrap up and we get into the 2026 one actually happening, I expect to see a floor rules update there that is going to codify that a little bit better, because what is a LGS level event or a level 1 event or whichever one of those an LC would end up being is going to change a little bit on requirements wise.
I have another fun question. The promos for this most recent LC was Bloodsucking Universe.
They look good.
And it might be one of the sickest looking promos of all time. Are the promos for next year even like a quarter of as good as what that Bloodsucking Universe looks like? Because it's so I'm in. It's so sick. Holy cow, those are beautiful cards.
If you're just talking about what they look like visually, you've already seen the art for the Godzilla LC promos. It's in my super fun little roadmap video where we showed the textiles cards. So you know that they look absolutely crazy. But of course, the other half of why the Bloodsucking Universe promo is so good is because that card's crazy. That card's nuts. That's one of the good ones. So if your question pertains to the other half of, is the text on those cards that we've seen just as good? It's pretty good.
I love it.
It's pretty good.
I think everybody wants desirable promos, which doesn't just include the art, but the text on the card.
Yeah. Chat, feel free to add more questions about LCs and anything else OP wise. I do want to talk at least a little bit about worlds. My prompt here is: are there any other things that you want to talk about 2025 worlds as we close out our show? Is there anything that you want to details about worlds that you want to share that isn't necessarily? It's been a couple weeks since you did your thing. I'm sure you've solidified some stuff. Is there anything that you're like, I'm excited for this thing, or I can't wait for it to showcase this, or so on and so forth?
Is my world schedule not enough for you, Tam? Is that absolute word vomit soup of an article just not enough for you? The 20 different images of prizing, our 30 prize wall items, our 800 million chromes and
Levi
cards.
communicated with Nick Reagan, the world champ himself, to put the cube as an actual scheduled side event. Is that not enough for you, Tam?
It's sick. It's so sick. It's so sick.
Tam, do you know how hard Barrett worked on that article? Updating it like 19 times for every 8th piece of prizing we revealed. You just hate Barrett. Is that what it is, Tam? You hate him?
Listen. You guys gave me a lot of potatoes. I just want some gravy. Give me some gravy.
It's meat and potatoes.
I don't know if you need any more gravy, Tam. But I digress.
Yeah. What are you most excited about for Worlds this year, Barrett?
I'm excited to see everyone. Screw Barrett.
Please, go ahead.
He stings.
No. I do. Yeah.
Nobody cares about me being there.
Sorry, Barrett. While the world schedule is one of the most packed Friday, Saturday, Sunday little calendars I have ever seen, there is one thing that is not on there. And if you've seen my recent little here's what you can expect from the new OP team this year video shared in the Facebook groups, I teased a little bit that you might be getting a sneak peek at what exactly the regional prizing entails this year. And you will certainly be seeing that at Worlds as we all sit down Friday morning between registration and around basically right before round one kicks off. Once we all get nice and sat down and ready to start our crazy tournament day, I'm going to have you guys turn your attention to the screen for a bit because I'll be going over a nice little keynote presentation on even more details and all the exactsies of what you can expect to see in the prizing of every single regional this year. Imagine everything you saw in my cute little roadmap video from a few months back, but just turned to 11. We're talking text on cards. We're talking prototype images. We're talking samples. It's going to be absolutely crazy. If you're not there Friday morning, you're going to miss out on this presentation. We will not be letting people take pictures and record videos. If you're an art, it's real bad. I cannot tell a lie. And it's going to be awesome. If you're not there, don't worry. The week following Worlds, we're slowly going to be uploading all this information on the website throughout articles so that it's actually public. But you're going to get the full scoop nice and early if you are on site at the event. And I cannot wait to see the reactions. If you were at Atlanta when we showed off the product roadmap video, take the energy and just dial it up to deadlock, baby. It's going to be crazy.
But as Levi's second hand here, if you are not there at that event, that information will be going live relatively shortly after Worlds, as we obviously want to give a showcase to what is leading to 2026 as we literally end cap 2025 that weekend. So.
Or just jump into Discords. I'm sure people be yapping about it for sure.
Oh yeah,
imagine it's radio silent and nobody shows it. Everybody be chill.
No, you guys will be more than fine to yap about it. I'm certainly not trying to send the Pinkertons after you for talking to your group chats and your Discords. Don't worry about that. But when it comes to actually seeing these things, I want it to be our personal little thing we share, our little surprise in the room. Everyone else can see it after.
I dig it. I mean, the thing I'm most excited about is the stream. Dude, I have put so many hours in making the stream be what it is. And after I get off of stream, how the sausage is made, I'm going to be doing a bit of a recap of like everything that I'm going to be trying to force these two jabronis and my other casters to record Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday while we're all there. And I got some wild ideas that I hope I can get I hope I can make it all come together. But my OP for 2020 2020 into 2025 into 2026 is I want this to be the best card game stream that exists. I just want that to be the case, and that is the goal that I'm shooting for. I want to shoot for number one, and I want to put that on my back and do it. I'm very excited because I can't play. So I gotta fill my time with something else.
Like the rest of us.
Like the rest of you.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped, Tam. You know, I would not be bringing you into this producer role full time this whole year for every event if I did not truly believe you could do it. You showed me bit by bit that you could do it. Atlanta was like a taste of your power, and this is just going to be unleashed.
You're not even going to bring up the Louisville one, because Sam and I worked extra hard to make that one also work as the bumpiest first attempt we've ever done. What do you mean?
Yeah, I wasn't at that one.
Atlanta was easier for sure.
Atlanta was significantly easier. Hey, and every time it will get better and better and better. And man, I sure hope that Worlds, with all the things that I'm adding, is way closer to Atlanta than Louisville, but I'm gonna be running around crazy to try and make that happen.
You guys just know, Tam would not be doing this if he didn't know and believe how awesome it was going to be, because he's doing this over playing in day 2.
Yes, I do have. I have 5 more points than Nathan DeWalt, and I just want to make that known to everybody. At 18th place, choosing not to play in Worlds just to do it. How's 19th feel, little itty bitty Nate?
Tim is really
had a
just
birthday.
like,
Give him slack.
He's a man now.
He's a few direct wins away from getting his hands on one of these super duper sweet top 16 bags.
I saw that bag and I went, I made a mistake.
I made a mistake. About this bag too is it's got it has a shoulder strap, so you can wear it like a messenger bag, but you can also take that off, and then it's got backpack straps on the back, so you can also just wear it like this as a backpack.
And you
So it's
you
like the
guys made
ultimate
18
card
of
game bag.
those. So 16 for the event, 17 for you, 18th for cool producer guy. Is that what I'm hearing? That's
You think I'm gonna tell you how many of these we made? Yeah, this guy wants everything.
fair.
Whatever.
Yes. Yeah, I
Bunch of
do.
spoon-fed.
I do. Well, we've been live for like an hour and a half. The questions have stopped. Let me go double check and make sure I got no more questions. Any final thoughts before we jump out of here?
Thank you, Universus. Thanks for trusting me with this. You know, it's been a wild ride from YouTuber to managing the organized play program for this game. But you know, like I said in my little feel good video, you know, 5 years ago, Universus just sunk its teeth right into me, absolutely locked me in, and I'm living the dream right now. I'm living a dream that I will not wake up from. And when it comes to what Universus wants, my eyes are wide open, guys. I'm dreaming with my eyes wide open right now. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many other people's eyes are closed. I'm keeping my eyes open, and I will be here for you, Universus. This year, me and Barrett, it's all about making Universus by the players, of the players, by the players, for the players. Bam, bam.
The slickness. With that, thank you all for watching the Tampa Bay Universus Super Show. Normally a radio call-in show, but we had Levi on, so it's there.
Radio here.
With that, next week, there will not be a show. Asterisks.
Or you're replacing me.
Yeah, I'm asterisks because Barrett will be out of town. If I can find somebody, we'll have a Tam and guest Universus Super Show. Maybe I can have somebody on for the Rift Bound show. I don't know. I'll reach out to some people. We'll figure it out. And then the week after that, we're doing the Tam and Bear Universe Super Show live for everybody on Thursday. Bear doesn't know about this. We're doing it live in the venue. It's gonna be so sick. You're gonna get up and get a microphone. I'm just kidding. There's no show. I'm gonna be going.
Oh,
you're gonna see
I was
me
excited.
You're gonna
Could
be
you
more
imagine,
excited
instead
for
of
the
a radio
things that...
call-in show, it was people there. We just bring them over to ask us a question. Tam.
Barrett. Here's what I'll promise you.
joking.
Here's what I'll promise you. If I can get the 8 hours of content I want filmed in roughly 4 hours that I will have on Thursday,
We can do it.
we'll do a live show. I'm bringing stuff to do it. We can
Kidding me?
figure it out. We'll
Well,
make it happen.
For what I did in Houston, easy. We can do it in 4 hours.
Easy, simple, easy.
I'm a
breezy.
pro. How many takes do you think I took every time I did those? Just ask. How many takes do you think I did? That's right.
Barrett,
You guessed it.
Barrett,
One.
how many? I did it in 0 takes.
Wait.
I didn't even do it.
Yeah, I got asked and then I couldn't find the guy afterwards, so no takes for Tam.